Hello world, you're welcome to this channel. My name is Afalabi. Today we are looking at producing this simple web application. What the application does is just change the color of the background of the web page. So once I click on this button, the color is changed dynamically, and I'm going to show you the process of how this solution was arrived at. And this course, this particular tutorial is targeted towards beginners. So if you're a beginner, feel free to join. I'm going to make sure I explain in detail all the steps I take to get this fantastic result. So you're welcome. Kindly join me. Okay, moving on. I'm going to go to my desktop and create a new project file. So new folder, background color changer. Okay, so inside this folder I'm going to open up my VS Code. You can use whatever code editor you are comfortable with. So my VS Code is coming up. Alright, there you go. Just a moment. I use Linux. I'm sure most of you guys use Windows, but that's no problem. Just follow the tutorials and focus on what you have on your system. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to get the boilerplate now. Alright, so I'm going to change the title to background color changer. Okay, then this application, the only thing it's going to have is a button. That's the major thing. So I will just say click to change background color. Very simple. So let me give it an ID. Change color button. Okay, I think that should be all. Let's go and see how this page looks. Let me save. Alright, so I'm launching it on the server. Alright, so we are all done with the skeleton. The HTML is there. Let me close this out. So we need to create the JavaScript before we do the styling. Alright, so right here I'm going to create the script file. I don't want to create another file so that I don't keep switching back and forth. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to grab the element in our document with inside the JavaScript. So to do that, I will just say we have this button here. We need it for what we want to achieve. We also need to get the body element also because we need it, and that is the background that we want to be changing. So we need the two elements. Okay, so to grab the button, I can say I'm declaring a variable here. I'll say let btn equals to document dot query selector. Okay, now what I want to select, because I'm having just one button on this document, I can go ahead and write button. Okay, this would give me the first button inside the document, but in practice this is not so good. All right, so I'm going to select it using the ID, and to select an element with an ID, I'll have to add the pound sign like I've done here, this pound sign. Then using the query selector, I can now say change color button. Okay, so what I've done in this line is that I have used the query selector to grab this ID inside the document, and I've saved everything inside this btn. So whatever I do with this btn in my JavaScript file is going to affect in the HTML document these guys. All right, so I'm going to get the body element too. Okay, so I can also say document dot query selector, and this time around I can just say body. Okay, so what we need to do again is we need to create a callback function. So the question is, what is a callback function? A callback function is simply a function you want to run based on the completion of another function or task. All right, that's my definition. All right, you can check the correct definition up in the MDN if you won't be confused, but I would explain callback as we go on in the course. Okay, so for these actions to happen majorly, we need to click on the button. When we click on the button, that's when we want the color to change, like we have here. Okay, so that requires a callback because we want the action to only take place when we click, not before, just after we click. Okay, so I'm going to say btn dot add event listener because the click is an event. All right, so once I say add event listener, I'm putting a double quotes, then I'm saying click. This is the event I'm looking for. All right, so once there is a click, I want an action to take place. All right, the action I want to take place is going to come in form of a function. I want a function to run once there's a click. All right, so I'm going to put the function here. Let's say change background color. Okay, so but I only specified the name of the function. Where is the function? All right, so I'm going to create the function now. Function change background color, open parentheses. So here is my function. Okay, hope you are following. So in this function, I would like to get my body. All right, or before we do that, let's be sure that our button is working. Let's just send an alert. Alert says working. Okay, before we move too far, it's good to confirm if what you are doing is correct. Okay, I've clicked, it says working. Yeah, our button is working, so I can move on confidently. So I want to select this body. Where is this body coming from? That's the body we declared in the global variable. All right, the body dot style. Okay, because we are going into the CSS, we want body dot style dot background color. Alright, we want it to be what? We want it to, let's add code something here. Give me a color, let's say Alice blue. We want it, let's say red. Okay, good, our code is working. It has changed to red, but this is not what we want. We want a color to come up randomly. Alright, so to generate a random color, we have this option here. This is RGB color. Okay, this is how it comes. If it's color black, we'll have RGB 000. Okay, if it's color white, we'll have RGB 255 and 255. And the reason why I'm choosing RGB is because even if you use the other method of generating color, the other popular one is X, it all generates back to RGB. That's red, green, and blue. This is red, this is green, and this is blue. So when all of them are 255, which is the highest, we have color white, and when all of them are 0, we have color black. Okay, so what we need to do now is to find a way to generate these numbers randomly. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So in JavaScript, to get a random number, you need an inbuilt function called math. Okay, math.random, and math.random, you need to call it by putting parentheses in front of it. Okay, and this will give us a random number. So what I usually do when I'm working with random is to console.log my result. So when you console.log, you can confidently work with whatever results you are getting, and you can be able to think through the solution to the problem you are facing. Alright, so I'm coming here, let me comment this line out. All I want to see is my math.random. I want to see what's giving me, and this is my goal. Okay, okay, so let me open the developer tools. I'm using Ctrl+Shift+C, then I'm going to the console, then excuse me, once I click on this button, we should see a random number. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so we are getting a random number, but this is not the format that we want. We would like this to be rounded up or down. Okay, so to get that, I would need to use another inbuilt method in JavaScript called Math.round. Alright, so this is how Math.round looks. Math.round. Okay, and whatever figure you put inside here is rounded up or down. So if I say math.round 1 point, let's say 1.3, I'm going to console.log my math.round. Okay, so that we all can follow what is happening. Then let me put a comment here that says rounded number. Then once I click the button, I expect that to, alright, you can see my random number is showing 1. So if I come back here and I drop, let's say 1.9, and I click again, yes, I have 2. So we need to apply this math.round method to the result we are getting here. Okay, so I'm going to move out this randomly generated number into my Math.round. All right, good. So let me get rid of this line and let's see what happens. Yes, we're getting 0 and 1. 0 and 1. All right, we are getting whole numbers now. All right, but the numbers we need, we want them to be in the range between 0 and 255. All right, so to get that result, I'm going to multiply the random number I'm getting by 255. Okay, because that's the highest number that I'm looking at to get. Okay, so I'm going to come back here, then click. All right, so I'm getting more random number, as you can see. So I need to find a way to plug this rounded number into an RGB that I can place on body.style.background. Okay, so instead of equating this to just letter red, I'm going to change everything in here to RGB. Okay, open parentheses, then I'm going to call something like random and random. Are you following? All right, so I need a way to put this result I'm getting on this line in here. Okay, so shall we? To do that, I'm going to make this into a variable. Okay, let random num equals, okay, I think I have an extra parenthesis here. Yes, so I need to plug this random num in here. All right, so to get this done, what I can do is because I'm using double quotes, I can put another double quote here and say plus. Okay, but that gets messy too easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an ES6 option called literals. Okay, and for me to use literals, you are going to like this. It's the button above the tab. Once I press it, oh no, button above the tab, it's called backticks. All right, so I'm going to use backticks, and in here I can now say the random number. I can call the random number by saying $, curly braces, then random num, and do the same thing here. All right, $, random num. Okay, so can we go back and test? Let's go. Let's see what we get. All right, the color just changed to gray, gray, black, gray. Okay, let's console.log what is happening here so that we can have an idea. So console.log body.style.background color. Okay, so we want to see exactly what we are sending to the DOM. Okay, so I'm going to go back here Okay, so the random number is working. However, it's giving us the same values each time we run this function. And this, when we have the same value in RGB, that gives us a kind of gray color. As you can see, RGB 9999, and the result of 999 is what we have here. Okay, you can see we have 202. It's getting close to the white color. Okay, so to solve this problem now, it means for each RGB that we're getting, we need to get a different round num. So how do we do that? Okay, we can use a for loop, or we just move this random number into its own function, and all we'll be doing here is to be calling the function each time we need a random number. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that each random number that we are getting inside here calls for its own random number individually. Okay, so let's try and move this out into its own function. Okay, let's put it before. Okay, so to turn this into a function, we can make it like this. Let me say function. Then all this function is going to be doing is going to be returning the value of our Math.random. Okay, so I'm going to put up a curly brace, then I'm going to close it here, then I will say return. Okay, so I've moved Math.random out and I've turned it into a function that returns only a random figure. So to call this function now, we need to come here. To call a function, you need parentheses. Alright, so I need to add parentheses in front of each one here. Okay, good. So I'm calling round num inside each one here. So let's give it a try. Awesome, our code is working perfectly. So the next line is the styling. If you're interested in how I got the styling to look like this, you can continue with us in the next video. And to make this code available, I'm going to push it to GitHub, and from there you can make your own changes. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next clip. Cheers.